I said, what? I'm a single mom. I'm like, what? And she said, yes, we'll do it. Because you know what? It's really hard to take joyfully the spoiling of your goods because you worked hard for that.
Right.
And then here they just come along and get what they want. I came down from heaven and landed on the earth, and I said, and a lot of people thought that I should just put my foot down and make lines in sand and do boundaries and all of that.
So the moral of the story, if you give away, you get upgraded to first class.
No. I'll guarantee you.
You were telling me recently about being prompted by the Holy Spirit to give.
Yes.
Even though it's hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about the joy of giving. If you want to call it the joy, at the beginning it might be difficult. Usually it's terribly difficult.
Terrible difficult.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, there's obviously the prosperity gospel.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we're on that game. But there's also people that kind of believe that if you give, you'll automatically receive back.
Well, that's not always true.
Monetarily or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not always true.
No,
but there are so many
not.
blessings and joys, and we want to talk about some of that. And giving.
Or even just the peace of knowing that you followed what the Spirit told you to do, and you don't know what happened behind the scenes,
right?
But you just know that you did the right thing.
Exactly. Glenda, you're a single mom of 2 children.
I am.
How long have you been a single mom for?
I've been a single mom for 13 years.
So you spoke about how your husband left you.
Yes.
You are the sole breadwinner.
Yes.
Or you're the, yes.
Yes, I am.
He doesn't help.
No.
At all? None. The comment came up about child support.
Yes.
And of course, he is obligated to do that by state law.
Yes.
Okay, so I would just like to have your perspective on that before we jump into, because it kind of all ties in with the same subject.
Okay, so first of all, Janine, have you ever heard that family court is one of the worst, ugliest kinds of courts there ever is?
I can believe it. I haven't heard that, but
People
no.
are just like trying to pull each other down to gain whatever it is they want to gain. So there's that. I'd rather avoid that if I could. Number 2, and maybe this should have been number 1, I'm a non-resistant Christian. So what does that look like in today's world?
And to be, some people don't understand what we mean by when we say non-resistant.
Oh boy. To be non-resistant is basically to follow Jesus' teaching of loving your enemies and doing good to those who misuse you. If someone speaks really angrily to you, you return a peaceful answer. You don't aggravate them further. If someone smites you on your one cheek, you're supposed to turn the other one also.
And if they take from you, you're supposed to give more.
Give more.
I think we struggle with that in our culture. So, anyway.
Because you know what? It's really hard to take joyfully the spoiling of your goods because you worked hard for that.
Right.
And then here they just come along and get what they want.
Yeah. And so,
It goes against your flesh. It goes against the grain.
And you've had a lot of going against the grain in that era.
Okay. Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Okay.
But that's what I, as a non-resistant Christian, have chose to live and walk.
So you have chosen not to take him to court to try to get him to help pay.
That's right.
Yes.
And just quietly live my life, and I'm going to put my trust in God. No matter what it looks like, no matter how hard it is, I'm just going to trust God. And this has been tough.
You have quite the stories.
But guess what? I've got to see all kinds of miracles because of that.
Right.
So I want to talk about that a little bit here. I hope we get a little chance to do that.
For sure. How much would you like to say? So you've shared a lot with me, obviously.
I think I have a bug on my nose.
Yes, you do.
Oh.
It's just a small little one. It won't show up on the camera.
Well, I can't talk with a bug on my nose.
Okay. One thing about Glenda, I will say this. She has quite the personality. You have a way of taking me from laughter to tears in like less than a minute.
Oh dear.
You have this way of bringing your touching, moving stories, and I'm just there like, oh my word, feeling, and then you just bring it around and bring your joy into it, and soon I'm laughing, and so I often, when I talk to her, I have a smile on my face, even if what she's saying is deeply
not funny.
Yeah, it's not funny, and so I'm sorry if I come across that way, but she has this joyous presence that just, she's a lot of fun.
Well,
I will say, and
But you know, on a little side note, on that little bunny trail, I'm terrible at that because I can be sitting in church and the minister will say something very solemn and I laugh at what he says, but it's not because of what he said. It's just because I'm thinking of how I tried to apply that one time in my life and it went haywire.
So next time I see you laughing at a solemn moment, I'll know what's going on.
Yes,
Okay.
you will know.
Okay. All right, so backtracking it. Oh, they say that it's okay to go down bunny trails if you catch the bunny.
Oh, did we catch the bunny?
I'm not sure. So back to your husband leaving you.
Yes.
So there's been, I don't know, if you want to share any of the stories, if you don't, we'll leave it. And I know it's a controversial thing. This is a controversial topic. A lot of people can kind of, you've got a lot of pushback for your decisions.
Yes. And a lot of people thought that I should just put my foot down and make lines in sand and do boundaries and all of that. But I chose to do the exact opposite and to just lay my life down. And if I die, I die. If I perish, I perish. Now today, when I look at my children, I don't really regret that decision. Like, my children seem to know right from wrong, and I didn't have to be the one to inform them. They saw it for themselves.
You have amazing kids. So.
Yeah, I love my kids. They're the best thing ever happened to me. But yeah.
Wonderful. So do you want to share any of the stories of that in your marriage, for instance? Or not necessarily? Or do you want to stay away from that?
I want to stay away from that.
Okay, let's stay away from that.
But I can tell you this one.
Okay.
So once, when I was really starting to get my business up and going, we went to a Princess House conference in LA, California.
Okay.
And you know, there's a lot of homeless people in LA.
Right.
So Charity, my leader, hi Charity, are you watching this? Okay. She came up with this idea. She called me about a week and a half before we left, and she said, oh, I know what let's do. Let's save money to give away on this trip. And I said, what? I'm a single mom. I'm like, what? And she said, yes, we'll do it. I said, oh, okay. So when your leader tells you to do something, you do it.
Okay. Even if it means giving away.
Yes, even if it means giving a stack of cash.
Okay.
But I thought, well, it might be fun.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, I got some stuff out of my savings.
Wow, good for you.
And cashed it, and off we went to California.
Okay.
And we got to the motel, and the first thing I did was tip the guy that gets the bags. What's his name? The porter or the... Yeah.
Busboy or porter, whatever they are. I forget. Anyway,
$50.
Nice.
And
that was a
like,
handsome tip.
Oh, madam.
Yeah.
And he tried to give it back. And I said, no, you keep it. And he had a big smile on his face. So that must have meant something to him. So then we did that stuff all week. We were there for 1 week.
Okay.
And about 4 of those days were part of the convention. The other 2.5 days were just me, just resting. Because I was just tired. When you're a single mom, sometimes you need time to rest. We did lots of activities. Like, we went out and we hunted for homeless people to give stuff to.
That's amazing.
Give cash to. And we took them food. And there were these 2 ladies that were homeless that I distinctly remember. The one she was crippled and she couldn't walk. And they used to say, the police would come and chase them away from their spot. And they were she had to, the one had to carry the other. And it was really
an awful situation.
Yeah, it was so sad. So we would visit with them. We would talk with them and sing with them. She wanted to see pictures of my kids. And it was just really fun. So we got
just giving of your time like that meant so much to them, and treating them like humans. I know sometimes I think that we can tend to think, as a general people, like we just tend to they're kind of another species. Yeah, and that's not good. Like, no, and I think they have that longing to be recognized and talked to and appreciated.
Yeah, and they especially, I remember, wanted to see pictures of my Thanksgiving meal. What I had made for a Thanksgiving meal. And they oohed and awed over that. I think they were hungry.
I believe it. Yeah.
So we sang with them, and then we also, Charity got them some clothing, some waterproof clothing.
Okay. You still have a bug on your nose.
I can't talk with a bug on my nose.
Sorry.
What is it with your bugs?
Why are we sitting out on the porch again? Get away from all the children and the lighting. Anyway, continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
you can hardly see it. It's so, I'm sure
it bothers me. Yeah. Yes, it bothers me.
It's one flying around. It's like a little gnat.
I know, but I killed 2 now.
Oh, did you? Okay. So much for the one. Welcome to the country.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway. So you were talking to this lady.
Yes, we were talking to her. We bought her some waterproof clothes. And we also would take them food, like different meals we'd take them. So we did that with them. And then we also...
So you did that multiple days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every day we went down there and visited them.
Okay.
And we didn't visit just every homeless person we met, but with them we felt like we had a connection with them because she was crippled, and we felt really bad about that, so we tried to spend time with him.
That was very nice.
So then we also went to restaurants, and we'd pay for someone else's bill and just that kind of thing. The whole week.
Yeah. That had to be kind of fun.
It was a blast. Until the end of the week.
And then what?
And then I'm like, ugh. I came down from heaven and landed on the earth, and I said, I have to pay for a whole week of staying in a hotel. Are you kidding me right now? I could have paid for that with my stack of cash I gave away. And I was repenting in my heart of giving it all away.
Right.
Even though I wasn't supposed to. See, that's not really a cool part of the story right there.
What's that?
That I was sad that I gave it all away, because I was like, now I have to pay for this big motel bill, because it was a really nice motel.
Well, it's the facts of life. You can't live on feelings. I mean, you have to pay for what?
So it was a Friday morning, and we went down there to pay this bill. And as we went to the desk to pay the bill, they said to us, oh no, madam, your bill has been paid. And I said, what? Our whole week of staying here has been paid. Yes, you don't owe anything.
That is just amazing. You still don't know for sure who did it. Okay.
No, we never found out. It may have been the company I work for. I don't know. But we didn't. We never found out. So we kind of staggered back to some chairs in the lobby, and we were sitting there and processing this. And while we were doing that, here Charity's phone rang, and it was American Airlines. And guess what? They were calling to update our tickets. They were taking us from regular passenger class to first class.
That is crazy. Like, they never do that. No! Without you, like, having to pay, like, unless it was... That is crazy.
Like $1,000 or something. These bugs like me. I must be sweet. I must be sweet. The bugs keep landing on me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
that is just the most incredible story.
And you know what? I learned something.
What did you learn?
I learned that you can't outgive God. And that was one time it really stood out to me, that you just can't outgive God.
And there you had such a blessing of giving away and the joy of that, and then you came crashing down to earth because suddenly you didn't have money much to pay. And then here comes God and
takes it all away and sends us home on first class.
So the moral of the story, just kidding. If you give away, you get upgraded to first class.
No. I'll guarantee you. If you ever try that, it might not work like that. I'm just putting that little caution out there.
Well, it has been so amazing to see so many of your stories, like, similar.
Oh, yes,
where
absolutely.
you've given. And, okay, that maybe the one time you gave away.
Yep.
And you didn't know how you were going to pay after you gave, and the exact same amount showed up in the mail.
Often.
Really?
Yes.
Often, more than once.
Oh, yes, very often. I remember this one particular time when I actually paid off a vehicle for my husband. He had wrecked it.
Okay.
And the insurance company did not cover what he owed.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, okay. He couldn't pay it off, so guess what? I was still married to him, so I had to pay. So I decided I'm going to do this by the grace of God. Anyways, it was some tough going. And I remember the day before I got the last bill, I sat down and bawled. Because I was like, I am not making it. This is so hard. I can't do this. And I got the last bill the next day. And I still owed $1,000 on this thing.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I can do $1,000, but I'm not sure where I'm going to get it. And we went to church the next morning. And that morning, my deacon brother handed me an envelope. And he said, this morning I was sitting at my desk and I was preparing, I think, a sermon or devotions or something. And he said, the Lord told me to give you this. And I already knew what was in that envelope. I was like, yeah, I know what's in this envelope. I was like, are you sure? And he said, oh, yes, absolutely. So I took it home, and sure enough, there were $1,000 in there.
That is incredible.
And I paid that thing off.
That's amazing.
And then the day came when I needed a car. And I didn't have the money to get one. And one of my friends, she called me and she said, Glenda, what kind of vehicle do you have? She lives in South America. What kind of vehicle do you have? And I said, well, I have a Honda Odyssey and it's getting kind of old, you know, and I got to replace it soon. And she said, I had a dream about you last night. And she said that in the dream, somebody gave you a very fancy SUV. And I said, what? No, I'm not even looking for an SUV. Forget it. Well, she said, that's what I dreamed. And she said the dream was really real. So 3 days later, I get a call from Charity again.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, I want to tell you this. I had a little vision or something.
I can get bug sprayer. We can go sit inside.
And
the bugs keep coming right as the story gets good.
I'm sorry, I just can't talk with bugs on my face.
I don't think they'll show up on the video, but I know it's distracting. They are so annoying.
Oh, she said she's had a vision. And she saw an SUV sitting in my garage.
2 people?
Yes, within 3 days.
Oh, my word.
And I called my deacon's wife and I said, so this is what's happening to me and I don't have any money. What's going on? And she said, oh, well, she's sure someday something will happen like that. And I said, I'm not even shopping for an SUV. I'd like a van. Anyway, the day came that I got an SUV and I paid for it in cash. And it was because, I don't know, people chipped in and it was just an incredible miracle.
That is amazing.
And it was like a $30,000 SUV paid for in cash.
That is incredible.
And I wept. I just couldn't believe it.
That's amazing.
It probably was like 6 months after that video or so. I'm sorry.
Vision.
It was probably about 6 months after that vision.
Yeah.
But, you know, I thought back to the time when I paid off the car for my husband. And I was like, you know, God does bring stuff back around. Mm-hmm. And he gave me more than I gave away, too. Mm-hmm. Like, when it came to that particular item.
Mm-hmm. Someday maybe you'll write a book.
Yeah. Actually, I have a blog, you know.
Yeah.
And my goal is to blog by blog, write it, and then someday take all those blogs and put them in a book.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So
I like
that's
that.
my goal.
Ideas for giving.
Okay. You got any?
Any come to mind? I have a few.
Oh, I want to hear yours.
Well, I don't really know. I think they're kind of general.
Well, that's great.
Just like you've said. Paying for someone's groceries, that's always fun. I actually think one of the best ways is to do it anonymously. There is just, there's so much fun in no one knowing. And there's a reason that you're supposed to give in secret. Looking for needs that you can give. And, you know, it doesn't always have to be much. It can be what you can. I'm not, like, gifts aren't my love language. So if someone gives a gift to me, I appreciate it, but it doesn't speak volumes like some. But I do enjoy giving. And so I struggle to know. Like, I'm not a gift person, so I can't, like, come up with these really neat ideas. So I do like to kind of keep my ears open. And if someone, like, is, you know, needing something, or I can think, you know what, this is something they would like. And maybe it's just one item, and it might not be this beautiful Etsy shop type of gift, you know. But it's something that they needed specifically or wanted, or... Yeah, anyway, that's kind of what I try to do, but...
And you're good at that. Did you know that?
Really? Well, thank you.
Yes, you are, because there was once upon a time that I needed a laptop computer.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I gotta buy one. I decided I was gonna try to do 20 parties in this 1 month to try to buy this. I wanted an Apple. Really bad.
Right.
So I worked really, really hard. And I got the money. And I called my brother and I said, do you think it's good stewardship for me to buy this really expensive Apple? And he said, well, are you going to use it for business? And I said, yes. And he said, okay. So I called an Apple consultant. And he put everything in the bag for me and I was going to pay for it. But I looked at it and it wasn't here. He didn't get the color I wanted. I wanted silver. And he was going to give me some other color. And I said, well, shoot, I'm not going to buy it. I'll wait and I'll go in there and change it. So I went in there the next day and I changed it. It was a Saturday, I changed it and I was gonna pay for it and I was just ready to hit that button. And then I got distracted. You know how it is with kids? You get distracted.
Right.
And I went to church the next day.
Okay.
And here, you won't believe this.
What happened?
In my vehicle was this package.
What?
It looked like a 9x13 or something. I thought, who's giving me a 9x13 when I saw Prince's house? Yes.
Definitely not Janine.
Just kidding. But I could cannot believe it. I took it home and opened it up, and there was a computer exactly what I wanted. And Janine gave it to me.
You don't know for sure.
I'm pretty sure it was you.
You never confirmed.
You don't deny it.
Well,
That's a giveaway.
is it? Mm-hmm. You don't know, though. It might be my way of...
What angel did you think did it then, if it wasn't you? So you were good at that.
Well,
Looking for needs and...
well, thanks. I don't know. It's just something that, we went through a pretty low spot in life ourselves when I was so sick. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't desperate. We were living on, this is my dad's place. Mm-hmm. And so we never have the insecurity that if we can't pay the bills, we
That you'll
can't.
get kicked
Yeah,
out.
so it's not like you, like, oh, well, this desperate feeling. But, we just had constant meds that Nolan would be working like a whole week for just to pay for what I'm doing. And then we have doctors and, you never
Yes.
felt like... And just the way people can pitch in and help and so when you can do that then too and give back, it's a blessing. Do you follow Dave Ramsey at all?
I do.
Live like no one else so you can live like no one else. Is that what he says?
Mm-hmm, he does.
And then give.
Yeah, give like no one else.
Give like no one else. And I think that's just it's just, and when you're and when you have no debt hanging over you, like major things that you're constantly stressed about, suddenly it doesn't, like, you're so much more free to just. And you can't speak to that because you had such
Craziness.
horrible,
Such craziness.
you had so much trust. Like to me, it's like, okay, so we're doing a little better, so much easier
To give.
But I think you can also fall into that trap where you're like, okay, once I have this much money, then I'll give. And who was the most blessed in the Bible? In the was it the parable of the woman with the mite?
Yeah.
And
she gave all that she had.
She gave all she had, and that was more blessed than the wealthy that were giving.
And you know what? I often wondered what happened to the widow when she went home.
Yeah.
Like, I vow to you, something happened that she got her mites back plus some more.
Probably when she was sweeping the corner of her house. There's probably a few that showed up.
Something. I think so.
Yeah.
Don't you give $1 of each purchase to some for water? Mm-hmm. What is that again?
Life Water.
Yeah,
it's like
Life
a
Water.
charity. Mm-hmm. Charity water, like Safe Water organization. Yeah.
That's another good way to give.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Buy Janine's coffee.
Woohoo!
So you can have $1 of that go to Life Water.
And that reminds me we should go make some and have some in front of the AC instead of out here.
That'd be fun.
Okay. Another thing that we like to do is also put money aside ahead of time.
Oh, that's great.
Like in the budgeting thing, just for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
to give.
Yeah, you have a cushion there, and if suddenly a need crops up, you have money to give.
That's awesome.
So, anyway, what about you?
I'm not as planned as that. I'm just more
not either.
random. So, like, if I go to the grocery store and somebody can't pay their bill, I love to step up and pay. That's just great. I love doing that. But I remember going to Walmart and seeing a woman standing there, and she had a black eye. And she had 2 children with her, and she had a sign, and she was asking for money. And something about the look in her eye, I don't always give money to people who beg for money, because I'm not always sure if they're always, whatever.
Right. I know.
But that one there, I had this feeling, and at the time, I remember I had $30 in my bank account.
Wow.
And I went to the ATM there at that store, and I pulled 20 out and gave it to her.
That's amazing.
I didn't want my bank account to fold,
Yeah.
So I left $10 in. But I remember I didn't ever remember I got anything back from that, but the look that Mom gave me when I gave her $20, it was pay enough. I've been there.
Right.
I've been there where she was.
Right.
And so, just keeping your eyes open and saying, how can I help? Whether it's time, like you said, or maybe even just a listening ear. That can be.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So, don't they tell you that when you start a business, one of the first things you should do is give 10% of your income or something?
Okay.
Isn't that what they say? If you want to be successful, you want to give.
Is that what your business coach tells you?
I think that's what Dave Ramsey says.
Okay. I think he tells you to get out of debt and then do that. And so I know some people would disagree with him on that. You should do it right away. Because he's like, first you got to get out of debt. Maybe
he does say that.
Don't count me on that, but I think
he
he
does.
does.
Say that. I think he does.
And I think there's a lot of Christians that disagree and say, no, you need to give right away.
Give right away. I don't really know if there's a right or a wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you're following after the Lord with all your heart, and a need arises and you give for that, you could give more than 10% of your income right there just by following the Lord, you know, following the Spirit.
So, like, we want to have these boxes that were living the Christian life perfectly and checking everything off.
Oh, brother, yes.
So 10% would fall. Well, I gave 10%, so I don't
I'm
have
a good
to,
Christian.
I don't have to give
I don't have to give anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right, Janine.
And so it's such a heart issue. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is there any significance in the New Testament, or any part in the New Testament where it talks about giving 10%?
Oh. Wasn't that in the Old Testament?
Because there's so much of that is the old bondage of the law, but yeah, I still think that you should give 10%. But I don't think you should. I don't think it's also mandatory to be a Christian.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Doesn't it say somewhere in the New Testament, everyone is supposed to give as he is able or something?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think there's a verse that says that.
Anyway, so thank you a lot for coming. I hope this was some kind of inspiration or random thoughts here. She's a huge blessing to me, and I'm so glad.
You're a huge blessing to me.
Oh, thank you.
Good
and
friend.
I'm glad that, she agrees to come on here and chat. Because you all wanted her to come back, and you were all saying you want her to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So you need to bug her and tell her to, keep uploading on her end, too.
Yes, I do have to.
It's so much work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a ton of work.
It is.
And so
It is.
I've been getting more sporadic here on this YouTube channel, and thankfully most of my faithful followers are very understanding.
They're very kind. So it's awesome when you can have a job that is moldable to your schedule.
Right.
You know, as a mom, that's really important.
It is. It is very important. So anyway, we'll catch you in the next one. And Thank Glenda for coming on, and check out her blog.
Do.
Bye.
I've been told to give by this Holy Spirit. What's the word for that?
Okay. Prompted.
You're going to have a lot of bloopers on this one.
You're a great inspiration for me. To
Oh,
me.
really? Can you tell me why?
Maybe we could talk about some ideas.
Oh, yes, let's
For
do
giving.
ideas.
Yeah.
Do you have some? Do you have some ideas for giving?
Oh, let me think. Do you want bug spray?
Well,
First of all, I
I'm
can
really
give you
excited.
bug spray.
Oh, she's going to give me something.
Did you not see that?
No, I
have
didn't
this
catch it.
pitiful little gift. No, I was not. I was actually just trying to.
I was just talking about a gift of a car, and then you offer me bug spray as a gift. No, I actually would love to have some bug spray.
Okay,
What were we saying?
I don't know until they all came in.
Giving. It was about giving.
Yes, but it was tithing. 10%.
Tithing.
Well, shoot for was giving. Now, what was that? 10%. No.
And we said you don't have to give 10% if you follow the Spirit, right?
Right.
I think, doesn't it say somewhere in the New Testament, everyone is supposed to give as he is able or something?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think there's a verse that says that.
But don't count me on that, because I know that, I need to study more into things like that. But I do think